center of excellence or something, which is this issue of the skills triangle. Let me try to scribble on this a little bit here. So let's say that this is 45 years here at the top. Okay. Now, if you're in a fully developed economy, like the United States, Canada, Europe, Japan, you can find people that have been in the software engineering business, possibly even within your particular niche, whatever that is, banking or engineering or what have you, for 45 years. There are people out there who have been doing it that long and they're still practicing. There aren't a lot of them, but they're out there. So that's the top of this pyramid up here. Okay? There are not a lot, but they're there. And as we move down, let's say to the 20 years or so of experience, like at the halfway point, we got a lot of people who are really seasoned professionals in software engineering and testing and so forth who are available. They're in the industry. Available to not only work on projects, but also to do skills transfers to people on projects, right? Now, let's say that we go to a developing region, say Philippines or Vietnam or something like that, right, where they're just now getting into software engineering. That peak of the triangle might very well be down in, say, 10, maybe if you're lucky, 15 years. Maybe if you're not so lucky, maybe 5 years, right? So that creates a real problem because you don't have a lot of expertise floating around available to mentor and lead, right? So that's one of the issues that you have to keep in mind. Another issue is in these developing regions, what you see is that because the price differential in salaries is so large, you have this explosion in the number of people available that's happening. A lot of people are coming into the industry. But of course they're coming into the industry. So how many years experience do they have when they enter the industry? 0, right? Now that means that when you're thinking about how to measure the skills across multiple regions, you really have to think about this issue of objectivity. Because people tend to assess their own skills relative to their cohort, relative to their peers, the people that are immediately around them. It's a natural thing in any endeavor that you're in. Right? This is why one of the things, if you want to really get good at something, people will put themselves into highly competitive situations where they're competing against people who are really good, because that forces you to perform at your best and it challenges you to learn more quickly, right? So what does that mean? Well, that means that you have to develop some sort of objective set of standards by which you measure the skills across your distributed organization if you're doing this work in a distributed way. We've run into this where we've done assessments of teams across multiple regions and been amazed at the fact that there seems to be an equal number of experts in different groups, in spite of the fact that the most senior person in one group has 5 years experience and the most senior person in another group has 25 years experience, right? But still people are rating themselves experts because they're rating themselves, again, against their peers, okay? And this is not bragging or anything. It's just a natural human tendency. Okay, so something as a manager that you have to be ready to deal with, because if you don't, you're going to have these skewed evaluations. Okay. All right. Now another thing to touch on here related to organization and organizing a testing team, participation of non-testers. So project managers, programmers, business experts, domain experts, IT people, other people outside of the test team getting involved. There's nothing wrong with having such people participate, and in some cases it's absolutely necessary for very specialized types of applications or to do user acceptance tests and so forth. But I think it's important to keep in mind that while these people might bring a certain set of skills, there's also a set of skills that they don't have, that testers would have. For example, writing a bug report, documenting a test case, isolating a bug across different environments, those sort of things. They will tend to not have a good understanding of that. And so, just again, you want to organize in a way that is going to provide some kind of support to the non-testers that are involved in testing so that the testing work that they do and the deliverables that they produce can actually be profitably utilized. It will be very frustrating to these non-testers if they get involved and what they do gets thrown away or ignored because nobody can figure out how to get value from it, because nobody did figure out how to get value from it beforehand. Okay, now this issue of bringing in a particular set of skills brings us to the next point here, the issue of specialized teams. This is an organizational option that we have as test managers. We can organize the team based on different areas of specialization. Okay, so I do my task analysis to identify the key skills as before for the skills assessment. But instead of trying to diffuse skills evenly across the team, I group people together in specialized areas. And I have them develop a great deal of expertise in the skills relevant to that area, but not the other areas. Okay? And then, when a project needs somebody with a particular kind of skill, they get plugged into that project. Okay? Now, this allows a great deal of flexibility in your team because you can handle very hard problems. You have a lot of expertise. You have the ability to be very effective at solving problems, even complicated testing problems, because of that expertise. For example, there's a Lister and DeMarco figure in one of their books, I think it was Peopleware, where they said that the difference between the most effective person and the least effective person in terms of their effectiveness on a task would be a factor of 10. So in other words, the most effective person is 10 times more effective. The average person is about at the 2.5 point. So the most effective person would be 4 times as effective as the average person and 10 times more effective than the least effective person. So what we're doing here basically is building this team of experts that have this 10x effectiveness against these kinds of problems that might arise. So that sounds really good because you say, I want to have the most effective team, and this is going to allow me to have these really effective resources to plug into particular problems as I need them. The challenge here is that you tend to get some really extreme peaks and valleys in the workload